Jagrath. People have a misunderstanding of what it means to really attain to a very high state. They think of yogis sitting off in caves somewhere in samadhi, or perhaps if they're taught that way, they think of people who never do anything wrong, or maybe even anything at all. Just dress in white all the time and walk around and say, "Excuse me." It's kind of very non-offensive. This is not the highest state there is, either of these things. The highest state there is so beautiful. It's beautiful just to talk about. Let's look at it. You have been put on the planet Earth. You want to think God put you there? You want to think the universe put you there? What's the difference? You know you're here. And you know that you're here. You're a conscious entity, a conscious being. You know that you are aware. And the most primitive and basic thing that you're aware of is you're here. You are a conscious being who is aware that they are a conscious being. They're aware of the surroundings. They're aware of the present. They're aware of the environment in which they have been put in, and that environment, in truth, is on top of a tiny little planet spinning around the middle of nowheres for a few years. That's the truth. That's a very, very high truth. That's a much higher truth than trying to make everything quiet so you can meditate. That's a much higher truth than judging who should go out with who and who should do this and who's allowed to do that and what's right and what's wrong. They say, "And by their fruits, so then shall you know them." If you have a person who has decided what everybody should do and what everybody shouldn't do, and they're sitting there judging them all the time, how could you possibly say that person was in a high spiritual state? That person is the most closed, tense, caustic person that could exist. They're disliking who they're seeing. They're judging who they're seeing. Nobody's good enough. It's unbelievable what state somebody gets in. And if you feel that way about things, you have to stay here on this plane in very narrow consciousness to check out and judge everything around you. So that's not a very high spiritual state. If you attune yourself instead to a much deeper truth, which is the truth that you are on a planet, a tiny little planet, spinning around the middle of nowhere. What a wonderful thing. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. That's the kind of truth I'm talking about. The real truth that really sets you free. If you're just sitting on a planet spinning in the middle of nowheres, that's a lot of freedom. That unloads and releases a tremendous burden that you carry around. And then if you add to it that you're not going to stay, you know you're not going to stay. You don't have to get all involved in making some permanent position for yourself or getting all uptight about what's going to happen and what's not going to happen, because it's not going to last. It's very temporal. It's just passing with time and space. So you're sitting on a planet, it's the truth. Please look at the universe, look at the galaxies, look at everything. This tiny little thing spinning around one little tiny star, that's where you are. And you are aware of what's there. And you're not going to stay. So you're aware of it temporarily, and that's that. That is the beginning of your spiritual state. Truth. Instead of all the other stuff that you think about that. Instead of all the things that you give meaning to that have no meaning, the color of your shirt or the fact that your shoelace broke or whatever, the food's not quite hot enough and last time it was better, compared to the truth, which is that you're sitting on a planet for a few years in the middle of nowhere, so you're wasting your time with picky and little stuff. So let's talk again about what is the highest spiritual state that could possibly exist. It's really very simple. That's what's funny. You wake up in the morning, and there's not a thing on your mind except the excitement and the joy of having woken up again. And there you are. And you get up, and you go through your day experiencing what it is like to be spinning on a tiny little planet in the middle of nowheres, experiencing what happens to be happening on that planet in front of you at that moment. You have no fear. You have no anxiety. You have no hopes. You have no dreams. You have no beliefs. You have nothing except your own being which is the being who knows that they're there. The being who is experiencing this awesome experience of being on this planet for a little while. So you pass through your day doing what? Life. That's what you pass through your day doing. You do life. You do life. What is life? That which is unfolding in front of you at this particular moment in time is your slice of life. That's what you get to see. If you were on Mars, you'd see a different slice. If you're on the opposite side of the Earth, you'd see a different slice. If you walked into somebody else's home, you'd see a different slice. This is the slice that your consciousness gets to experience out of the whole universe. In every single place of the whole universe, there's a different thing going on. If you turn to the left, you see something than if you turn to the right. You have a totally different experience. So the particular moment you're experiencing is yours. Your consciousness, your awareness of being, you, is experiencing a tiny little dot of life. It's not life, it's a dot of life. That's all, it's a dot. Because life goes on everywhere, all over the place at the same time. If you take a Seurat painting, remember Seurat, the pointillist? But don't take the painting. Take 1 point. Right? Just take one dot. That's what you see. I'm serious. That's what this is. It is one dot in a moment of time and space, of which how many are there? You can't even begin to count them, can you? How many things are going on in the whole universe, not just the planet. How many things are going on in the whole universe right now that you're not seeing or experiencing? A universe is worth. But you are seeing this one. And that's a great honor. That's a phenomenal thing. That's a gift that was given to you, that you get to see this one. And then you'll leave, you'll see another one. You'll see another one and another one. You just keep getting to experience life. That's it. The highest state there is that. Is what? I missed something. The highest state there is that you are centered and conscious and clear enough in the center of your being to where you are actually living life. The life that you are experiencing this moment on the planet of time and space. Then the next moment, then the next moment. You do not have a care. Now, I gave a litany list, my list of things you don't have. Hopes, dreams, fears, anxieties. Whew. Fears and anxieties, everyone's going to say, oh, good, I want to go there. Hopes, dreams, beliefs? What are you talking about? How can there be a high spiritual state with no hopes, dreams, or beliefs? It's a very high spiritual state with no hopes, dreams, or beliefs. And there is no high spiritual state with hopes, dreams, and beliefs. Whoa, that's very different than what people understand. How can that be? If I am sitting here in the moment, experiencing life, what is a hope? What is a dream? What are those things? They don't exist in what I'm seeing in life. I'm seeing you, I'm seeing walls, I'm seeing things, hearing things, I'm experiencing. What is a hope? What is a dream? Well, a hope is something I think of. A hope is something I have inside of me. What is a dream? It's something I have inside of me. All right, I got that. It's okay that we have inner things and outer things. There really are inner things. But what is a hope and a dream? I'm going to throw it at you and then we'll discuss it. A hope and a dream is an indication that you're not doing so well. If you were well, why would you not be okay with what is? Why do you have to hope there's something else? If you are okay with your experience of life, that, like, here, I'll give it to you and then you'll finally get it. Let's say you're madly in love with somebody. I mean, like, you got a bad case of the loves, all right? And just to see them, just to hear their name, just to see their car, like, you got it, all right? You've been there. There's all this love. Now imagine you're with that person. You've seen them, they've been out all day, they came in and you sit down and there you both are, and you're just madly in love with each other, okay? I'm going to come in because I want to ask you about your hopes and dreams. Guess what? You'll lock the door to keep me out. Why? You don't want to talk about your hopes and dreams. You want to experience the love that you have for this person. If you are experiencing something that is fulfilling, something that is whole to you, there are no hopes or dreams. The definition of hopes and dreams is that what you think will give that to you. I hope someday this will happen. Why? What's wrong with what's happening? Why do you have to hope someday that will happen? Why are you not okay with your moment that you're experiencing? You're sitting here looking at a point in Seurat's painting. You can either experience the colors and the form of that point, or you can be hoping you get to see a different one. If you're hoping you get to see a different one, I assure you, you're not seeing that one. You're hoping to see a different one. You can experience what is, or you can dream of what's not. You can live in reality and experience life, or you can live in your mind and have it filled with hopes and dreams and concepts, in which case you miss life. Now, why would you have all those things inside? Because you are not okay with life. Preferences, hopes, dreams, all these things are about the fact that you're not okay inside. So you make up things inside that you think will make you okay, and then you call them nice words. I hope this happens. Right? Oh, I had such a dream. I dreamt I was with someone I loved and I was off somewhere instead of over here. Okay, fine, I get it. But now do you get it? Don't say that hopes and dreams and all that stuff are spiritual. They are an indication of the fact that you have not achieved a deep state within yourself, and so you have to make up alternative people, places, and things and situations so that perhaps someday you will be okay. That's what a hope is. I hope that someday I'll be okay. I dream that this will take place so that I'll be okay. Therefore, that's not a high spiritual state. You're not there yet. You're hoping to get there. So you see, when you achieve a high spiritual state, there are no hopes. There are no dreams. There are no wishes. A truly high spiritual state, you are okay. You are okay. You are in a state of contentment. You're in a state of joy. You're in a true high spiritual state. It's not an expectation. It's not a maybe someday. It's not what do I need to do it. You got it. And what I want to talk about is what is it? And so your state of being, your heart, your whole being is filled with joy. It's filled with spirit. It's filled with upliftment and contentment and wholeness. Because you're okay inside, you're able to look outside and experience the slice of creation, the slice of the universe that you have the honor of seeing at this moment. It's not that you wish there was another slice. It's not that you've decided there's a better slice. The only reason you would do that is because you're not okay with this slice. If I love you, and then I'm with you, I better be there with you. I better not be thinking maybe there's somebody better. Or I remember when we were on our vacation, the honeymoon, it was so much better being with you. It's nice now, but that was so much better. How would you like to live your relationship like that? That's nothing. You're throwing your life away. You have to be achieving a state in which every single moment, every moment of your life is beyond your honeymoon, is beyond the highest moment you ever had. Take the highest moment you ever had. Just take the highest moment you've had, where your energy was so beautiful, where it was so uplifting. Imagine it always being like that, no matter what is happening. That's a high spiritual state. Imagine the highest you've ever been, and then beyond that. Totally open, totally filled with joy, totally peaked out. Imagine it always being like that. As each moment unfolds, it's like another honeymoon. It's like another first love. It's like another taste of your favorite food, fixed that perfect way it ever was. It's like another sunset that was the most beautiful you ever saw. Each moment unfolding as a thing in and of itself, having that uplifting, beautiful effect on you. That's high, isn't it? I thought I'd paint a picture I thought you'd all agree was high. How would you like that? How would you like to wake up in the morning and that was there? And how would you like to go through all day and that was there? And how would you like to put your head down at night and never ever think again about what happened in the day, because who could care less, because it's going to happen again tomorrow? And just in case you think, yeah, but that'll get boring being ecstatic all the time, Yogananda used to call it ever new joy. Ever new joy. And that's what it is. Those of you who have dealt with Shakti, dealt with spirit, understand that that energy never gets old. That energy isn't like other experience. You have the same food all the time, no matter what's your favorite food or not, it stops being your favorite food. All right? There's this law of diminishing returns that naturally takes place coming into the senses. There is not with spirit. When you feel that chi, that shakti rushing up inside of you, rising inside of you, I don't care if you felt it 700 million times before, if you felt it 1 second before. Each experience is so uplifting and so beautiful that it's like the first time you ever experienced it. The soul never gets tired of spirit. Master used to say, spirit loves spirit. It never gets tired of it. It is absolutely a continuously new, uplifting experience of fresh joy. So at night you put your head down and there's nothing to think about. I really want you to relate to this in comparison to how we live. Imagine putting your head down at night and there's nothing to think about. Nothing. There's nothing to review. There's nothing to judge. There's nothing to regret. There's nothing to be proud of. There's nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, there is nothing except the joy. And since the joy was sufficient all day for you to where you were willing to just experience the moment, you will have nothing to think about at night. You think because, watch, something happened today that challenged whether you think your hopes and dreams will take place. You said something that maybe was a little stupid. You didn't say something that maybe someone didn't appreciate and misunderstood. What are you doing? Who cares about these things? How would you even know to think about such a thing? How would you know whether what you said was stupid? How would you know whether what you didn't say somebody would have expected you to say, therefore when you didn't say it, you got rejected? How do you know what somebody else is thinking? Why do you care? You have to be able to answer that, because you do. You do think like that, all right? This is why you're not okay. You're not feeling that tremendous, uplifting sense of contented joy. Therefore, in its place, you built a hope, a dream, a concept, a view, a belief, a preference. It went like this. I hope she likes me. I hope he thinks well of me so that he'll like me, so that I can feel accepted. You see how complex it gets? In other words, I'm not okay, so I've used my mind to make up thoughts and complex situations and relationships that if they happen, I'll probably be better. Therefore, because I have that model of what needs to happen for me to be okay, not really okay, better. Okay, I don't think any of us even begin to think about the kind of okay I was thinking about. All right? But they want to be better, at least better than I am. In order to be better, you now have the burden of making your hopes and dreams take place. In which case, hopes and dreams are not only not spiritual, they're non-spiritual. Because now they're a burden that you carry. Let's just do it very slowly. I'm okay. I'm okay. You're filled with joy. You're filled with ecstasy. You meet somebody. You meet somebody else. You meet somebody, a man, a woman, old, young. Who cares? It's wallpaper. It's dotted lines on the road that's driving by. It's not something you need. It's just the experience of life. It's just beautiful. But so is everything else. It's just something that knocks you back into your joy. It's not something that is in relationship to something you need or want. It's just a beautiful experience. That's what it is. If you're in a high state, that's what life is to you. It is just an experience that you are having while you are experiencing the experience you're really having, which is spirit, joy, shakti, love, peace, contentment, high. If you are not in a high state, then there is lacking inside of you. If there is lacking inside of you, you don't know what to do. Because you feel hollow, you feel lonely, you feel insecure, you feel rejected, you feel just so many things we can't even list them. And when you feel those things, and you don't want to, so now we have a preference, you try to do something about it. Well, what are you going to do about it? What you try to do is define situations outside, people, places, things, occurrences, whatever, that need to be a certain way that you think will make you feel better. If she loves me, then it'll happen. If I can find someone to marry who works in the same field that I do, just very complex things. If I could get more money to where I don't have to think about this. You've just got all these notions in your mind that you accept as absolute truths. Well, of course if I find somebody, of course if I had more money. The only absolute truths are the ones I told you. You're sitting on a planet, spinning in the middle of nowhere, you ain't staying. So don't compare your truths that if I didn't get the run in my stocking, and if I had said something better, and if I was just a little bit smarter, and if I just had a better job, and if I could just earn more money, and if I just hadn't done this when I was younger, and blah, 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 that these are absolute truths that you'd be happier. That's not true. It's just something you made up in your mind that you think will make you happier. You're not okay, and your mind is just making up things based on a movie it saw, based on what somebody told it, based on a past experience it had. I don't care what it's based on. It's just some relative thing that the mind makes up and says, I think that if this happens, I'll be better. I think that if that happens, I'll be better. And so you build those things, and those are your hopes, and those are your dreams, and those are your concepts, and those are your views, and those are your beliefs. And then you go out from a state of not okay with all of that stuff I just said, that inner mental stuff, and you fight with the world. This very world that was supposed to be a gift, that was supposed to be an experience of awesomeness, you fight with it. You know what it means to fight with the world? Why do you fight? You fight to make it be the way you made up. You fight to make the world, people, places, and things be the way that your hopes are, that your dreams are, that your concepts are, that your beliefs are, that your preferences are. And that fighting is supposed to make you happy. It doesn't. It makes you sad. So you were already not okay. Now, as far as I'm concerned, you're worse. Right? Because you're carrying the burden of all these things that you decided you needed to be okay, and now you carry the burden of fighting with everybody to try to make them be that way. At what point does it get heavy? I told you, Christ said, my burden is light. Yes, a high being's burden is light. They have no burden. They have no burden at all. Why? They're not defining things to be any particular way. What if, in contrast to what I just painted you, that heavy, unbelievable burden, you wake up in the morning and this is the way they are. And this person is this and this person is that, and here they come and there they go, and who cares? Because it's just your experience of life. And you have no burden. You just have the experience of inner being. Now, if you're not that way, and you have this complexity that we build with our psyche, with our mind, now the fun starts. Because the moment you define how you want things to be or need things to be, I'm telling you it's over. And somehow people think, well, I just defined it wrong. No, you didn't. It is the process of defining how you need things to be for you to be okay. That's what's out of balance. Not that you defined it this way and next time you'll define it that way, or it's not that. As long as you are defining the way you need things to be okay, your psyche will be neurotic. If I sit there and say, I need her to like me, I'm a dead duck. I got to worry about what I wear. I got to worry about my cologne. I got to worry about what I say. I got to worry about who's with her. I got to worry about whether maybe she doesn't show up when I show up. And all of a sudden, I'm a mess. Why? You know what your mind's going to say? Because of her. No. No. It is not because of her. It is because you decided within your mind that the way to solve the fact that you're not okay is her. And the minute you build that model, you start worrying about every single thing there is about your relationship with this person, place, or thing. Everything. It just goes like that. Just decide that you need money to be okay. Watch what happens to your mind. Well, I get the job. I'm not happy with my... You were happy with... I know, I like it. I love doing my job, but I don't care. I don't make enough. And I'll give... Whoa. Far out. What are you doing? Or, yeah, I love my husband. I do, but I need more. No one ever said that, right? It is because you've tried to solve the fact that you're not okay by making up what needs to happen for you to be okay, that you will never be okay. And there is not a single thing that you can pick in that model, including spiritualizing that model. If only everybody loved God, and if only I could live in a place where everybody believed in what I believed in, and this is just another thing, just another hope, another dream, another way to look at it. It ain't going to do it. To be high, truly high, all of that has to go. I told you, the truly high spiritual state is the one in which there's you who's there you are, I'm here, and there's life. And life is what you're experiencing. It's not about needs, it's not about wants, it's not about rights and wrongs and preferences and beliefs. It's about you experiencing reality. You are sitting on a planet, spinning out of nowheres for a few years. Dig it. Dig it. You're not going to see much of it anyways, don't worry. You understand that? I told you how little you see. I want you to contemplate how little of life you see at any given moment. Look at this room. What percentage of the universe is this room? Because that's how much you're seeing. So stop trying to make it be something it's not. It's just an experience you get to have. That's what it is. What's the meaning of life? Life. The experience of life is the meaning of life. It's like, let's say you were in love, truly in love. And someone came up to you and said, but what's the meaning of love? What's the purpose of love? Please don't answer them, because they will never be able to understand your answer. You know, don't you? You'd never ask that question, would you? The meaning of love is love. The purpose of love is the experience of love, isn't it? That's all. I'm going to go to Gibran. I'll use a prophet instead of me, all right? Love gives not, but to itself. And love takes not, but from itself. For love is sufficient unto love. Love is whole. Love is an awesome experience. It doesn't need a reason. It doesn't need a rationale. It doesn't need a purpose. Its experience is its purpose. You got that? That's life. It's the same as love. The purpose of life is the experience of life. You can't feel that because you're too closed. You're not experiencing that. I guarantee you, if you experienced every moment of your life, what I talked about, all of it was just blowing you away, and you were having these unbelievable, constant, ever new experiences, and somebody said to you, yeah, well, what's the purpose of life? You would never answer them. You just smile. You know, if they don't know, they don't know. You ain't going to tell them. But get somebody else who's experienced what your experience, you're going to ask each other, you're going to look at this little twinkle in your eyes, are going to go back and forth to each other. Wow. Yes, that's it. That's the purpose. The purpose is the experience. And the Upanishads and the ancient yogic writings, Hindu writings, say that. It's so beautiful. Because God created creation in order to experience itself. Eternal, conscious joy, ecstasy. That was the nature of the unmanifest. That's what was. You, in your highest state, spread across the universe. That was what was before all else was. And in order to play with itself, in order to dance, Leela, express itself, it created the reflection of itself so that it could experience its own joy. You ever hear the word reveling in its own joy? It was just reveling in its own joy. That's creation. It is an expression of ecstasy in order to experience the reflection of the ecstasy. Your highest state is that you re-experience that. That each moment that's unfolding, you are experiencing joy. You're not experiencing need, you're not experiencing preference, you're not experiencing judgment, you're not experiencing good and bad and right and wrong and better and worse. You're experiencing life. Therefore, morning, you wake up, I told you how it is. All day, it unfolds, nobody's touching it. You're just experiencing it. You're blown away by it. And then you go to bed at night and there's not a thought about did you do right? Did you do wrong? Will what you want happen? Will it won't happen? What are you anxious about? You don't want anything to happen. That's what I want you to understand. You're not wanting anything to happen. What an unbelievably free state. Can you imagine? If you actually were able to meet people, here, I'm going to meet this person. I don't know. I'm going to meet him. We're going to meet. He's going to tell me a little about himself. I'm going to meet him. We're going to walk away. And I'm not going to think. Did he like me? What did he think of me? Will I see him again? What's he going to tell other people? Is there anything we're supposed to be doing together? Did I say the right thing? God, maybe I offended him. What a mess. Why can't it just be that you meet somebody and that's the end of it? How would you like it if not a thought went on in your mind afterwards? either about you to them or them to you or anything. That can only happen, only, if you have nothing going. It is because you have something going that you do all this thinking. How can I have nothing going? You be okay with how you are. Until you are okay with how you are, you will have something going. The something going you will have is to be better than you are, to have it different than you are. And then you'll get all involved in people, places, and things, trying to make them a certain way, and you're going to get sick. It's not going to be happy. It's going to be a problem. The great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. That was the third Zen patriarch. That's a true statement. How do you do that? Well, it's not that hard. First, you have to define high as high. Can you imagine such a state that's how you go through life? I can't, it just blows my mind. But that ecstasy, that joy is yours. If you're not like that, and of course we're not, and instead what you try to do is to define how everybody else needs to be so that you be better like that, I'm telling you, it's the wrong direction. You're going to be a neurotic mess for the rest of your life. The moment you define how you want it to be, you're dead. I say it again. The moment you define how anything needs to be, anyone and anything, your mind will never stop again. It was just thinking about how to get it that way, and did I say the right thing? Oh, I should have done this. Oh, God, why didn't I do that? You're going to get ulcers, aren't you? Why are you saying that? Because you think there's something to get by getting it that way. Well, you're wrong. There's only something to lose. Your peace of mind, your harmony of heart, your high spiritual state. Because you're too busy putzing around with the outside, and the answer's not there. So to achieve this state, and you can achieve this state, and it's fun just even to try, because obviously the closer you get, you really get something. You get more. It's not an all or nothing. You sit there and say to yourself, and they're going to kill you, I don't care how it is. Even if you do. Even if you're not there yet, you say that. I don't care how it is. I would rather be okay with however it is than to try to get it the way that I made up that I think I need it to be. Because I've never been right anyways. There's never been a single time that I got what I thought I needed to be that I never needed anything ever again. Is there, all right? When did it last happen that your mind said, oh, if only she loved me, or if only I got this, or if only I got a raise, I'd be fine? Were you? Meaning you never asked for anything ever again? You were just in a state of ecstasy and you walked around in that high state I just talked about? Never. Ever, and you never will. But you will if you listen to me. So you sit there and realize, I don't care how it is. This is deep. Not a, I don't care. You're not closed. It's not a push it away. I don't need you. I don't need anybody. Nah, that's not what it is. It's a complete openness. Here I am. This is what is. And something's going to happen next. You may like me, you may not like me, you may come back, you may not come back, it may rain, it may be sunny, it may be hot, it may be cold, who the heck knows? All I know is I ain't got no control over it. And I ain't going to kill myself trying. I would rather work on me to be okay with everything than to try to make everything be okay. In one, you win. Just be okay with everything. Just be okay with everything. Now you start to catch on. Can you be okay with everything? Of course you can. How? By just experiencing it. I'm driving down the road and I have a flat tire. Are you okay with that? Of course you can be okay with that. You have a flat tire. It's something in life. It's just an experience in life. You have all kinds of experiences. And now you go to the deeper states. I'm going to do this so you get it and I'll move on. To be okay with everything does not mean that you don't have feelings. Part of life is human beings have feelings. So that you're sitting there driving, you have a flat tire, and you feel fear. It's not a question of not feeling fear. It's a question of being okay feeling fear. Remember I said you have to be okay with everything? Feeling the fear is part of the everything. What's wrong with feeling fear? That's what humans do. If you haven't noticed, they got a lot of it. Got a lot of fear, those human beings, okay? Not just them. You ever watch, why did the deer run away? We love the deer out here. We take such good care of them. Why don't they catch on? We're not going to do anything to them. Why when you walk up to them do they run away? Okay, they get a lot better. The deer around here, you can kind of drive up and they hardly run away, right? But they do. At some point they run away. And if you go walk up to them too close, they're going to run away. Why? I'm not going to hurt them. Because they have fear. I don't make them run away. Their fear makes them run away. You see, you're not the only animal that has fear. Animals have fear. Fear is a pretty natural thing, isn't it? Fear is a pretty natural thing. So the question is not that you don't feel fear. It's, are you okay with fear? Is it okay that your consciousness, your experience of being, experiences the outside world as it unfolds and experiences the inside world as it unfolds? And you just sit behind it. And whatever comes up, and you just keep letting it come and go, and who cares? Now you got to say that. It's not only that I don't care what happens outside, I don't care what happens inside. I don't care if I feel love, I don't care if I feel sorrow, I don't care if I feel depressed, I don't care if I feel high, I don't care. Heart's going to feel whatever it feels. If I feel empty, feel high, I feel low, well, who cares? It's still me experiencing all these different things. I want to know about me. I don't want to know about what I experience. I want to know about me. If I'm so caught up in what I experience and the object, I'm never going to know the subject because I'm too preoccupied in the object. So learn to be comfortable with fear. It'll just come and go. It doesn't stay. Don't worry. Learn to be comfortable with insecurity. Learn to be comfortable with jealousy. Learn to be comfortable with anything that can come up in your heart. They are neither right nor wrong nor good nor bad. They just are. Be comfortable with hot weather. Be comfortable with cold weather. Be comfortable with love. Be comfortable without love. Be comfortable with every single thing that you can experience. And guess what? You're going to be a very comfortable person. And as you get comfortable inside, you won't have a need for controlling and manipulating and worrying so much about the outside, because you start to experience that you're okay. And when you're okay that way, inside, something will happen to you which there's no real need to talk about because it's going to happen to you. Because your consciousness is not preoccupied with what you're looking at, it will naturally, no effort of your own, start to have the time and space to start to be aware of itself as itself, instead of aware of itself who's fighting with fear or fighting with this person. It drifts back into itself naturally. It's the only way. You cannot bring yourself back to the self. Your very act of doing will keep you out. It is because you have lost need or interest in your feelings. You're not suppressing them. Don't get that. I hate to say it because people misunderstand that state. The feelings are free to come and go. But who cares? I don't care. I'm comfortable with all of them. They're all saying to me their feelings. All right? The world is free to come and go. I don't care. I'm comfortable with all of it. It's the world. Because you don't have to do anything about it, you're free to experience who you are. And that's what will happen. Your energy will stop getting sucked outside of you, and it will naturally pull back inside, and you will start to feel this joy back behind instead of the things in front of you, which is where you're used to feeling love and used to feeling peace and used to feeling anger. They're all in front of you. They're all something you look at that comes in front of you. You see what I'm saying? Where do you feel anger? If I asked you, where's anger? Oh, it's up here, right? Where do you feel love? Oh, look, you're pointing in front of yourself. The self is the consciousness that's experiencing these things. There will come a time where that's not the only experience you have, that which is in front of you. You will start to feel it behind you, effortlessly. It will start to fill in and expand behind. And you'll start to feel this joy, this Shakti, this Chi. That is your experience of, I told you what the Upanishad said about God. Sat Chidananda, eternal conscious ecstasy. Well, that's what you are. That's what's back there, the universal whole. But it's just busy looking at the limited. As you let go, you will begin to experience your nature. And your nature is joy, spontaneous joy. And as that starts to happen, you start to get sucked back into it because it's what you always wanted. It's so beautiful. Now your real spiritual journey starts to take place. Your journey back into ecstasy, your journey back into joy, into spirit. And it will just keep expanding and expanding. And that's your high state. That's what high means. Notice I started by saying it's not all about your book knowledge. It's not about whether you can quote the scriptures. It's not about whether you ever told a lie or ever did this or ever did that. It's not about all that stuff. It's about your state of being. And your state of being can be so high, so beautiful, then there's no reason to lie. That's what's so beautiful. The high state, you're not doing anything. You're just in ecstasy. You're not taking from anybody. Why would you take? Such a being is only giving, and they're not even trying to give. It's just that whoever comes gets from them. Right? It's so beautiful. All right. So I told you I wanted to spend a moment talking about what it really means to be high. Do you see it now? You are capable of spending the rest of your life in that state. It doesn't make any difference what you've done before. It doesn't make any difference at all. All you do is wake up to these teachings to realize the more you want, the less you get. The more you try, the further you get away. The more concepts and views and hopes and dreams and all that junk that you have, the more closed you will be, the more disturbed you will be. The more you just work on being at peace with whatever is, inside and out, the more you'll become at peace with whatever there is, inside and out. And the more you become at peace with it, the less it will disturb you. And the freer you will be to fall back into your own self. Jagrata.